My name is Val Dolcini, and I'm the Director of the Department of Pesticide Regulation. It's my real pleasure to welcome all of you to the Sierra Hearing Room today for this special award ceremony. For those that work here at Cal EPA and for the Department of Pesticide Regulation, it's good to see you, and this has been a real team effort in terms of the work that we do around integrated pest management. For the awardees, welcome to Sacramento. I hope that you're able to see a little bit of downtown Sacramento near the Capitol. The park is beautiful this time of year, and there's always lots going on in the Capitol itself. This is my first year to make these awards, these Integrated Pest Management Awards, and I think that that's a really great way to kind of inaugurate my time as the director here at the department. I've been here since last October, and I had another position at Cal EPA working on agricultural issues before I started at DPR. But I've worked in agriculture for many years, and I've worked on pollinator issues for quite a few of those years as well. So everything that I've done as a professional and as a citizen of California, I think in one form or another, intentionally or unintentionally, has been focused on integrated pest management and ways to protect pollinators and to do more for the environment. You may not know this, but you're time travelers. While we are honoring you for the work that you're doing in the here and now on IPM, this is really the wave of the future, in my view. It's the way that we're going to manage pests in California and probably in every other state in the union and probably every country around the world eventually. We're going to do it with a focus on sustainability and doing things that are less toxic and safer for both people and the environment in general. And I think that there are lots of ways that we can do that. You know, that picture over there of the orange orchard, we'll probably always in some fashion rely on chemical tools to combat pests in the orchard setting. But I think in households, in schools, in public parks, in communities up and down our great state, folks are looking for ways to manage pests in a more sustainable fashion. And we'll talk a little bit about the ways that three individual organizations are doing that today. Sustainable pest management, I think, is a wonderful foundation upon which to build the work of DPR. And so with my colleagues' help, I'm really sort of reorienting the mission of the department in some regards to highlight the work that we've been doing in many cases for some years on integrated or sustainable or responsible pest management, depending on how you call it. And I think that what I've found in my time at DPR is that building trust around pesticide policy issues is essential for moving issues like IPM forward. Here at DPR, we're really always under the microscope. We're at the center of controversy on issues large and small. We deal with issues that bring out the best and sometimes the worst in people at community meetings and the like. And so being able to establish trust, being able to have conversations, being able to talk to folks about more sustainable and safer ways to manage pests, I think is a great way to build that kind of trust. And we'll see that in the examples of our honorees here today. So I want to just tell you that there are restrooms around the corner if you didn't see them when you came in. If for some reason you hear bells go off and flashing lights, that's the signal to depart the building, and we will convene at Cesar Chavez Park, which is right across the street over there. I'm certain that won't happen, but just in case, follow me to Cesar Chavez Park. And we will begin our award ceremony. We may see our secretary today. Secretary Blumenfeld has a busy schedule, but I invited him down, and he really wanted to come down and support the work that all of you are doing around IPM issues, and certainly the work that the department is as well. But we'll get right into our first award. And she is a army of one today. But the first award will go to the West Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District, which is located in San Bernardino County. The district, as I'll refer to it, helped to educate many local residents on best management practices to avoid mosquitoes and vector-borne diseases. I think we're all familiar certainly with Zika, but there are a number of other diseases that are transmitted by mosquitoes. Mosquitoes can be some of the deadliest insects on Earth, spreading disease to both humans and pets. Think about West Nile or Zika or heartworm disease. And the district helps to protect about 600,000 people in its jurisdiction from disease. It's quite a challenge. And so education and outreach, and that's a central theme I think you'll hear from all of the awardees today. There are significant educational and outreach components associated with their work. To local water management districts, to local dairies, to other agencies and farms is absolutely vital. And the district is very proud of that because it has adopted an IPM strategy and has not applied a chemical pesticide to kill an adult mosquito in almost 7 years. That's worth a round of applause right there, I think. So without further ado, let's watch a little video about the district.
The West Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District in San Bernardino County is receiving an award for its state-of-the-art research, mosquito IPM practices, and community outreach. Its lab in Ontario provides testing for a variety of native and non-native disease pathogens for themselves and neighboring vector control districts. They have the largest collection of pesticide-resistant mosquito colonies in California. As a result, there have been numerous peer-reviewed articles published over the years in scientific journals. The district staff have also collaborated with the Pacific Southwest Center of Excellence in Vector-Borne Diseases, producing YouTube videos that help establish scientific methods to determine pesticide resistance. The full-time field staff are certified vector control technicians with the California Department of Public Health. They perform door-to-door inspections for invasive Aedes mosquitoes and potential West Nile virus positive colonies. The district even has a technician who works directly with dairies and small farms, reminding them that removing standing water can prevent mosquitoes and the need for pesticides. These inspections are a great opportunity to educate residents one-on-one. They post signs and use social media to notify the public where West Nile positive mosquitoes are found. Each technician works closely with code enforcement and city departments to achieve breeding source reduction and long-term maintenance. The district also maintains its own facility to breed mosquito fish for the community. These tiny freshwater fish can eat enormous amounts of mosquito larvae and so reduce the need for pesticides. The district monitors many recharge basins throughout the region and has helped reduce costs and pesticide applications for partnering agencies by implementing water rotation programs. It has recently been using a new type of trap that disseminates biological control agents to hidden breeding areas. And it has been working with cities on trash capture devices for stormwater drains to help keep drains flowing freely. These efforts have resulted in 0 pesticide applications for adult mosquitoes within the district since 2013. Communicating with residents is an important goal for the district. Its outreach team is active on social media and at community events. They have large social media promotions during Mosquito Awareness Week and Mosquito Control Awareness Week, and release weekly Fun Fact Friday social media posts. In 2019, the district's outreach team attended 42 events and spoke to nearly 12,000 residents about mosquito control. They've even sponsored a local minor league baseball team, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, where they reached an estimated 500,000 people throughout the season by using their logo on promotional materials and through fun promotional games, like participants popping mosquito-shaped balloons on the field. The West Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District Management would like to thank the hardworking, dedicated staff members who ensure quality and efficiency every day, and their community partners who play a crucial role in their success. Thank you.
Michelle, come on up here. I think before I hand this over to you, I just really was impressed with the work that the district has done in the last 7 or 8 years, to be sure, but the fact that you've reached out successfully to so many residents of San Bernardino County, I think, has made the program the success that it is, whether they're calling you to get mosquito fish or whether they're going to a minor league baseball game or doing any number of the other things that you guys have really put the hard work and effort into doing. That's what makes IPM a success. It's not me sitting at my desk in Sacramento or presumably you sitting at your desk in San Bernardino. It's getting out and talking to citizens about why it's so important and why, you know, the focus on safer and less toxic alternatives can make a real difference for a mosquito control district, for a city, for a UC, or for the 40 million people that call California home. So let's take a nice picture here, and then you can tell us a little bit more about the district and the program.
Thank you, Director Dulcini. I just want to thank the department and the director for this amazing honor and the recognition for all of our hardworking staff at the district. We have an amazingly supportive board of trustees, and I appreciate their continuing leadership, our hardworking members of the district for their dedication to prevent and reduce vector-borne diseases, and also, again, our community partners who are so instrumental in our success within the community. Thank you all so much.
Thanks again. Thanks for coming in today. Our second award today goes to a team of scientists and researchers who vigorously promote integrated pest management and rapidly respond to arising pest issues. The UC, University of California Integrated Pest Management Almond Pest Management Alliance team serves as a hub for growers, pest control advisors, and their collective efforts have helped to reduce the use of synthetic pesticides in many cases. In particular, this team has focused on disrupting the mating habits of the navel orangeworm, which, as you'll see in the video, and I suspect David Havilland will tell us a little bit more about, is very, very serious when it comes to impacting almond production in our state. This is a hugely destructive pest that threaten about 1 million acres of almonds, and the tool that UC IPM has developed is relatively new and can help replace the use of some traditional insecticides. So let's watch the video.
The Almond Pest Management Alliance built a team of public and private researchers, extension agents, and commodity board representatives to address the long-term sustainability of almond production. This team included 2 public and private researchers, 3 University of California extension entomologists, and a representative from the Almond Board. Serving in advisory roles were more than 30 almond growers, pest control advisors, farm advisors, commodity board representatives, and representatives from the Department of Pesticide Regulation. The primary goal of the project was to improve adoption of integrated pest management for key almond pests. For spider mites, the team focused on increased reliance on biological control, especially by six-spotted thrips. This natural enemy has been present in almonds for many years, but has recently taken on an increased role as pest management practices in almonds have become more green and sustainable. The almond team taught almond growers and pest control advisors the value of this natural enemy, while developing and demonstrating a new monitoring tool to allow growers to keep track of its presence. This has increased awareness of this natural enemy in a way that has reduced the need for preventive miticide treatments in the spring and allowed for reductions in miticide use at hull split. Team members also focused on almond growers' arch nemesis, the navel orangeworm. This pest lives and feeds exclusively within almond kernels, where it reduces growers' yields and crop quality. Each year, the almond industry produces more than 2 billion pounds of kernels, meaning that for every 1% of nuts that are infested, 20 million pounds of nuts must be destroyed. Team members collaborated with the Almond Board of California to promote sanitation as a non-chemical way to control navel orangeworm. Sanitation is the process of shaking trees and destroying worms and nuts left over after harvest. In addition to their serious educational activities, team members also had fun producing a satirical mummy shake video featuring the act of sanitation as a noble task taken on by superheroes. The Almond team also worked diligently to develop and demonstrate mating disruption as a valuable tool against navel orangeworm. Mating disruption works by filling the orchard with pheromones that mimic the scent given off by female moths that are in search of a mate. This confuses male moths and inhibits the reproductive process. The team demonstrated this technique on more than 2,000 acres of orchards in the lower Central and Northern Central Valley. Sites where mating disruption was used saw 93 to 100% reductions in the number of males captured, resulting in an average of 47% reduction in damage at harvest over 2 years. Economic analyses from these demonstrations showed that using main disruption allowed growers to increase the use of integrated pest management practices and make more money in the process. During the period from 2017 until 2019, team members gave more than 130 extension presentations on Almond IPM at meetings with more than 16,000 people in attendance. These talks were given in 36 different cities in 20 different California counties. Team members also wrote more than 50 extension publications on Almond IPM. 82% of project participants reported that they changed their practices because of what they learned. This included a more than 25% increase in the use of main disruption by participants that influenced 419,000 acres of almonds. This acreage is the equivalent of 42 million trees that produce approximately 1 billion pounds of almonds annually. The Almond Pest Management Alliance team represents a prime example of the impacts that can be achieved through cooperation between scientists, extension experts, growers, and regulators, with the common goal of improving the long-term sustainability of agriculture through integrated pest management.
Thank you very much. That was a great video, and congratulations to the entire team. I'll just put in a little PSA for UC researchers. We work with them a lot at DPR. I think as Californians, and certainly folks from around the world, benefit from the decades of research that the University of California has done, and the fact that there have been, in most cases, cooperative extension agents all around the state to provide input and help and assistance and advice and guidance and research has really led California to become the preeminent agricultural state in the country with annual receipts of over $50 billion. So this project is just one example of many projects that the UC Integrated Pest Management team has focused on, and I'd like to invite David Havilland up to accept the award and say a few words. Before I turn the mic over to David, and he was the narrator, I believe, in that little video clip that we just saw. Yeah, it could be a second career, buddy. Yeah.
Extension, people do extension.
Okay, there you go. David Havilland has also been a member of the chlorpyrifos alternatives work group that we established here at DPR last year when the governor announced that we would be canceling the registration of chlorpyrifos, which is a broad spectrum insecticide used on about 60 different crops in California, or was, I should say. And the work that David and 19 or so other real problem solvers are doing on that work group will lead the way to identifying near-term alternatives to chlorpyrifos and then thinking more broadly about sustainable pest management, IPM practices, and various other things that will allow us to transition away from the use of insecticides like chlorpyrifos. So David, happy to turn the mic over to you. Congratulations on this wonderful award. And if you could just sort of give us a sense in lay terms what it is to disrupt the mating patterns of the navel orangeworm. And I saw those little puffer boxes up there. You might want to share a little bit about that too.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'd love to do that, but it also introduce the team. But yeah, real quickly, main disruption, you oftentimes controlling pests, you think about there's a bug, kill it. Well, main disruption is kind of the opposite. It's let's make it so the males and females never get together, because if they can ever get together, there's no eggs. If there's no eggs, no pest is born. So we're essentially trying to control a pest by making it never born in the first place instead of trying to kill it once it already exists. So a pretty novel approach, and we've had great success with it. But as you know, I think as you saw in the video, this project was not me. This project was a team. And I'd like to spend just a minute introducing the key people that were on it. I'm going to start off with Brad Higbee. And is it okay if I bring him up here? Perfect. Can I just have the team come on up? Brad, let's start with Brad here. So go ahead and Chuck and others and just file on up. About 17 years ago, Brad was hired by Paramount Farming Company, brought down to Kern County, given the task of solving navel orangeworm. And he put that to task and spent more than a decade working on that, getting main disruption started. Chuck, paired up with Brad is our, I feel like this is, you ever seen Ocean's 11? You know, there's like the guy that climbs well and the smart one and okay, well that's kind of how we are, right? So Chuck's the scientist, okay? Chuck is the hardcore scientist that knows the right questions to ask, the right project to put together, the right statistics to do, to come up with the solutions that define how to really do things. the two of them with colleagues, after about a decade, had main disruption to the point where it's ready for prime time. And at that point, that's where the technology transfer people come in. And so which is really the UC Cooperative Extension in this case. So that's myself in the Southern San Joaquin Valley. Jalinda Rajal is with the statewide IPM program in the Northern San Joaquin Valley. And then Emily Sims that wasn't able to make it here today in the Sacramento Valley. So we're the ones that sort of focused on the transfer. On the industry side, we have here with us Bob Curtis. Bob spent decades promoting IPM with the California Almond Board. And also with us, real quick, Rebecca, Jenny, and Jesse, if you guys wouldn't mind standing up, just kind of be noted real quick. Decades of work on the part of the Almond Board for IPM, which really for them has culminated in this program recently they called the California Almond Sustainability Program. And this isn't just pest management, it's water management, fertilizer management, soil, dust, all of this incorporated. And so all the things that the scientists were generating, the extension people were trying to transfer, was stuff that the almond industry itself was asking for and promoting for their own goals for sustainability. And so it's kind of a in the right place at the right time scenario with a group of people that made it the right place at the right time. And what the group was able to do is partner up with the California Department of Pesticide Regulation with the Pest Management Alliance grant for 2 years to do demonstration work, bringing all these resources together, which leads us to the introduction of Stephanie Rill. Stephanie has been a staff research associate for entomology for 13 years in Kern County with the UC Cooperative Extension, and she's the one that did all the work. So, yeah. So, multiple years, more than 2,000 acres worth of demonstration trials, more than 3,000 traps serviced every year, just the logistics of being in all these fields every single week for such a long period of time. Every successful team has a Stephanie, and in our case, she contributed greatly to our success. So with that, like I said, I feel like we were in the right place at the right time, but also able to make it such. And absolutely honored by this recognition by DPR for the work that's been done and the progress that the almond industry's made, but also let you know the work is not done. The work has only just begun. And all those statistics that you saw in the presentation, I'm glad to report that every week those numbers are outdated because there's more talks, more presentations, more adoption, more research, and the future is just going to continue that way within the almond industry. So thank you very much.
I think we've got a legislator. Is there a ledge staffer who wants to present a resolution here? Come on up.
Oh,
Microphone.
sounds good. Just want to thank your guys' effort in the Central Valley, and on behalf of Assemblymember Rudy Salas, here's a certificate.
Fabulous.
Yeah, no problem. Oh.
Those are your tax dollars at work, and I think we can all agree that that's a very wise investment of our precious tax dollars. So thanks again to the UC folks. We have one more award to present, but before I get there, I just want to thank the folks that have helped to put this event together this afternoon. It begins, 7 or 8 months ago, perhaps longer, beginning the process of looking at applications, looking at nominations, talking to folks about particularly meritorious IPM projects around the state, and oh, well, that person was honored a couple years ago, but they're doing something different now, and really a robust collaborative conversation around IPM and how we should highlight successful IPM projects in the state. So there are a number of people, I'll tick off just a few names, but they really just represent the tip of the iceberg at DPR in terms of the contributions that they made. Lisa, Michelle, Courtney, Sean, Joe Damiano, all of the DPR staff in the room, could you please stand? Thank you very much, guys. And the problem with naming just a few names is that, of course, you forget a whole bunch of others. But there are many people here at DPR, like Eric Denemark, that work a lot on IPM issues. And it's something, as the staff can tell you, that I'm always talking about and trying to, think of new ways to get more people enthusiastic and really supportive of the idea behind integrated pest management. I think we've made real success. We've had some major successes in the last few years, and we're going to continue to do that going forward. So the final award is proof that an IPM approach can be successfully utilized in a large-scale setting. 15 years ago, one of the most beautiful cities in Orange County, the city of Irvine, began an experiment using predatory insects to control pests, and today that effort has developed into a major program that makes non-chemical pest control methods a real priority. Synthetic pesticides are still used at times, but today the emphasis is on biological and other more natural pest control methods. So here's our third and final video.
On behalf of the City of Irvine, our staff, and my fellow council members, I would like to thank the State of California Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Pesticide Regulation, for recognizing Irvine's efforts to control pests in a non-toxic manner. The Integrated Pest Management Achievement Award is a great honor that we are also very proud of. In February 2016, with the support of our non-toxic community volunteers, I brought forward to our City Council an innovative initiative to use non-toxic pesticides in our parks and in our greenbelts and in our open space. Over the course of 4 years, more than 160 cities across America have gone organic. We care about the health of our children and our families, pets, and our wildlife. This initiative will continue to protect our community from the use of toxic chemicals for many years to come.
Irvine residents and city leaders work together to develop the citywide pest management guiding principles, an organic-first approach to the use of pesticides. This method prioritizes the city's use of organic means to control pests in all city properties while limiting the use of pesticides where the community gathers. The program works by controlling pests through non-chemical methods like the mechanical removal of weeds, utilizing smart irrigation controllers for watering, applying mulch to minimize weed growth, and using carbon dioxide liquid injection to control the gopher population. Even goats have been put to work in our open space to control vegetation, and a city contractor releases close to 1 million beneficial insects annually in the parks and streetscapes to combat destructive pests instead of relying on pesticides. These methods are successfully applied to all city-maintained properties, including more than 600 acres of parkland and athletic fields, more than 900 acres of public right-of-way land, and 76,000 trees. Since the policy's implementation, over 100 gallons of synthetic pesticides have been eliminated from the Landscape Division's annual maintenance program for weed control. While there is still a small need for synthetic pesticides once all available non-chemical methods and organic products have been exhausted without control, the Organics First approach has garnered positive feedback from the public. The highly trained and skilled staff of the Public Works Landscape Division, along with support from the city's landscape and pest control contractors, make this integrated pest management policy a success. As the availability of organic products used by the city's contractors for pest control is growing, moving forward, city staff will continue to evaluate new, non-toxic options and refine practices to provide the most effective, non-toxic solution to pests in our landscape, facilities, and open space.
How about a big round of applause for the city of Irvine? Mayor Shea, I'm happy to make this award for your work in Irvine. I know you've brought a lot of city leaders and fellow citizens. I think the work that you've done is fantastic, and what it underscores is really that IPM is not necessarily about removing all synthetic pesticides from the toolbox. Sometimes you really need to pull out something if you're just unable to eradicate a pest without the use. But there are many, many, many other tools that you've obviously implemented in Irvine. I love the goats. But they're,
We love our goats.
yeah, that's right. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I just, well, we're going to have a picture first with this.
Did you want to? Oh, I thought you were going to hand that to me. Well, you're the director, I'm not, right? I almost forgot that for a moment. But I do want to thank the DPR for providing us this award. It's really a huge benefit to our city and acknowledgement of what we've done over the last 4 years. In 2016, as I mentioned in the video, our community volunteers came to me. I was a council member at the time, and asked us if we would consider starting a more organic program in the city for our parks, open space, and green belts. We have 16,000 acres of open space. So I'm a cancer survivor. I had cancer when I was in my early 20s, and this is like, what, 10 years ago? You're laughing, right? Don't laugh at that. So they brought the concept forward, and I said, well, of course, being a cancer survivor, I'd studied a lot about chemicals and how dangerous they are on our health, with our children, our pets. So I brought it to the council, and believe it or not, I'm a Republican, and a lot of people were concerned that our majority on the council would not support it, but it went unanimous. It was a great day for us here in Irvine, and since then, our staff under Dennis Quixote, he's kind of been our magical concoction manager, who's come up with a lot of different uses of pesticides and new pesticides, and now we've really come up to some really good protocols that we're using. We have over 160 cities across America that have reached out to us that are now going organic in one form or another. So I would like to invite Dennis Quixote up here to get a picture, and Ayn Kreisen, she's one of our volunteers that brought this to me, and Kathleen Halal. If you could come up, I would appreciate it. Would that be okay? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you. Well, thank you to all of the honorees that have been here today. Can we give them one more round of applause? You know, this for me, and I think I can speak for my colleagues, this is the fun part of our job, you know, when we're able to award recognition to folks in California that have really gone above and beyond when it comes to managing pests, and particularly when they're doing so in a sustainable way that uses integrated pest management practices. There are 1,266 other communities in California, Madam Mayor, in addition to Irvine. Many of them have adopted various forms of IPM. Many more probably would like to do what Irvine has done, or at least explore the opportunity to do that in their parks and in their public spaces. So again, I just want to thank all of the honorees in particular who've made the trek up to Sacramento today. Your work does not go unrewarded. Certainly we know about it here, but now it's going to be our job to talk about the importance of IPM in the state and to look to places like the city of Irvine, the work of the UC IPM team, mosquito and vector control districts all over the state, because you truly represent just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what your fellow districts are doing. And again, it's my privilege to share the stage with my colleagues from DPR today, the work that they do on science, on public policy analysis, to protect worker health, to protect bystander health, to protect public health and the environment in general, and that is right there in our public mission, is absolutely essential. And it's done somewhat anonymously, it's done without heraldry, it's done without a lot of public fanfare, but I can tell you, and I think all of you know, how critically important it is to our state. So thanks once again, and I'll look forward to taking a few more pictures outside. Thank you.